This is easily one of my favorite weapons in the entirety of the game. The weapon design is just amazing, and thankfully enough, this is a weapon that you get fairly early into the game. You get this weapon from below the shoe sanctuary, and you cannot miss it because it's just going to be dropped on the ground while you're making your way through to the boss down there. And as you can see, I'm slicing through these enemies. Some of them are early game enemies and mid game enemies, but have in mind that this is on New Game Plus, and you can get so busted right in here in this game, especially with this weapon. Now, the cool thing about this weapon is that it has amazing range, and it has amazing survivable capabilities, because longswords are, in my personal opinion, one of the best weapons that you can use to start building your Skyborn might. Some of the stuff that we're going to be using with this build, it is going to be based mostly on the usage of Skyborn might. This is also somewhat fairly a simple build, a very straightforward build. This is a very straightforward weapon. We're not using that many shenanigans like the ones that we use with the weapon swap build. I do think that the weapon swap build is much stronger than this, but this is a little bit more of like a straightforward playthrough, and it's amazing. It deals tremendous amounts of damage, and this is a weapon that you can basically use in any kind of situation that you would want to use this weapon for. So of course the weapon is the Lashing whip. You will notice that this is a weapon. To achieve the damage that I'm achieving right in here, you have to have something in mind, and that is that the weapon scales the most out of agility. So when we build our stats for this weapon, that is what we're going to be focusing on more often than not. Early on in the game, you don't have that much of a choice until you manage to completely max out the weapon skill tree that you're going to have, but later on, you do want to focus on agility. So first, let's actually talk about the things that you're going to need from the left tree. It's not going to be that many, but yeah, you're going to need a couple of them, especially when it comes to tempering the weapon, because tempering the weapon is going to alter the playstyle, well, not the playstyle, but the choices for fighting specific bosses. One thing that you need to have as well is the Steel Resolve. This is going to give you one stack of Skyborn Might. We're going to be basing this build out of Skyborn Might usage. You get one of these guys right in here whenever you deflick and you're above 50% madness. These guys are going to go to waste because these go into the weapon changing swap mechanic. This time around we're actually using tempering. Now tempering, you're going to also want to pick up all of the tempers and alterations that you have in here. This is going to give you AQ points for the acupuncture. One thing that you need to have in mind about tempering your weapon, this is something that I've seen people confused about it. It's not that you're natively going to get stats out of acupuncture. We're actually going to talk about that in a little while later, but there's two things that you're going to need right in here, and this is going to be dependent on situation. If you want to basically no-brain every single fight like you saw me doing, or like you see me doing right in here, with just spamming stuff and healing back and not caring about the damage that you receive, as you can see, you can trade off damage right in here, no problemo, and still use this thing right in here. So you need the Fury of the Skyborn. This is not going to do anything really. This is just going to be to some extent wasted points, but what you're going to need is the Bone Needle Leech. This is going to give you leech to your weapon. We're already going to be healing later on, so that those healings are going to stack. And then this is a weapon that actually does a lot of poise breaking, posture breaking, and the weapon native skill of the weapon is that every time that you use the Temperance Needle for breaking poise, it's going to enhance its effect. But also remember that you can be getting this back and forth, so that you use it on whichever enemy you feel that you know the weakness. Remember also that you exploit a weakness of the enemy. Not only do you deal more damage, but also you stun them for a little brief of time so that you can leverage that and deal damage to them. Now this is a fairly high level character, but that is what you need as a base to start leveling your character. Now let's actually talk about how would this work on mid-game all the way throughout the endgame and New Game Plus. How can I take the most out of my character to increase its damage as much as possible? Remember that this weapon has a scaling for agility, so that should be what you should be prioritizing early on while you're building your character. You will see that when it comes to the longswords, most of the stuff that you're going to get is going to be strength. But my advice is that as you level up, you take these guys right in here first, because these are going to give you agility, the right side of the skill tree. You also have more agility in here. A couple of agility. This is a mixture in between agility and strength. So this is the one that I advise for you to take first. And then you're going to max out the one right in here, which is going to be basically for strength. The weapon does have strength scaling, and you're going to need basically all of this to increase your damage and to get the actual extra little skills that you're going to get for the weapon that alter the playstyle. But yes, once you have managed to get all of these stats, this is how you should be having your character. This is how your character should be looking like. I'm not taking any of the points in here because we're not using feathering at all for our character. You should be around level 40, 50-ish once you max out all of this. So what do I need to do next? Next thing that you should be prioritizing and focusing on is something that is going to give you more agility. And what do you know? The one that is going to give you the most agility is going to be the dual daggers weapon tree. We're not using this to increase the damage of the daggers. Some of the collaterals in here are going to increase stuff for our daggers, but we're really using this for the agility. You will see that we have agility here. We have, as a matter of fact, this has like value and strength. You have a couple of points into strength right in here. You should take them. All of those mean damage. But more often than not, what you're going to be seeing right in here is going to be agility, 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 all the way here. So this is the path, the route that I took to max out my my agility right in here. Anything else that I took from here? It's a little bit more survivability. I did take some vitality in here. I did take some more points into vitality in here as well. But more than anything, we're getting agility from this tree. Now the next one that you should be prioritizing on, you have this. You should go for access if you wanted strength. This weapon doesn't scale that great with strength, so we do not want for that. You're going to go into the spear tree, and to the spear tree you're going to take the left hand side right in here. You will notice that the spear tree has strength here on the right side and agility on the left side. So we want to be prioritizing the agility side. All of these guys right here are going to be agility that are going to be very important for us to scale our damage. If you see me doing so much damage, it's because I have so much scaling into the agility of my weapon. Now, the acupuncture, and I think that this is what confuses the people the most, and it's still somewhat difficult to understand for people. I've seen people that say on forums that they do not see the proper values once you have used the acupuncture. What you need to understand about this is that the acupuncture needs to be active. These are values that you're going to have once you have the tempering active. It does not matter. This is not passive bonus. These bonuses that you get seeing right in here, and you will see that I have agility. I have agility right in there as well, and I also have the temper right in here because I'd like to increase the attack power that I get from tempering. But basically, I also want for you to notice that if I take strength right in here, it's going to diminish my damage, opposite to the agility damage that I'm getting right in here. So yes, this is a weapon that's natively going to scale better, not by a huge amount, but it's just min-maxing purposes. Now all of this is just going to be active whenever you have the temperance. So right now it's not active, even though those agility points, extra agility scaling, and the attack power, that is not active. Now it's active. It gets active whenever I temper my weapon. Those are not passive bonuses that you're going to get all the time. Now the ones that I like to use the most for the actual effect that the weapon is going to have is Poise Break. Poise Break is going to be enhanced with this specific weapon because of the actual weapon passive skill that the weapon has. So you will see that using Temperance to buff Poise Break makes the effect much more potent. So more often than not, that is what you want to be using. But I also like to no-brain fights. There's times that I'm going to be killing things so fast that I'm not going to be caring about poise breaking at all, and I just want to spam like a maniac. Like you can see right in here, sometimes I just feel like spamming my weapon and spamming and spamming and spamming and dealing damage, and that at the end of the day is something that you can do if you have the properly character built like this and you're no-braining everything because you're healing as you deal damage. So more often than not, I use the Leech and not the Poise Break, but these two are my go-tos. And then you're going to have an extra one in here in case you want to take advantage of the actual weakness that the boss has. And finally, the Benedictions. I think that this is the most important part of my build because we are stacking healing. If I can no-brain and out-heal anything that I want to, it's because of the healing that we get on top of the weapon's leech. There's a whole bunch of different ways that you can do to actually increase the healing that you receive in this game. In here, we're actually stacking it up with the Skyborn Rejuvenation. And as a matter of fact, when you build your blessings and your boons, you should always be prioritizing. I don't really care that much. I'd say that the Skyburn Plume would be amazing, would be nice, because this would increase our DPS, but I don't have like I prefer to have it like in here. Everything that the Skyborn Ward, the Skyborn Rejuvenation, the Skyborn Force, this are going to suit the playstyle that I'm going to show you in just a little while. But essentially, every time that you receive Skyborn Might, which is essentially going to be 100% of the time with this type of build, this type of weapon, you're going to have reduced damage taken for a time, increased damage while you are doing so, and also you're going to receive a Life Leech that is going to overlap on top of the already life leeching effect that your weapon has. That's why you can no-brain and out-heal anything that you are fighting. Anytime that you get Skyborn blessings or oaths right in here, use them. So what is the playstyle? How do I play this character? Why is it so broken and amazing? As you were able to see, we're focusing on the gainage of Skyborn Might. I gain Skyborn Might by perfect dodging, by using the countering attack of my weapon, which is one of my favorite ways because it can basically counter most of the bosses that you have on the game. And every time that you do a deflect with your weapon, you're going to immediately activate the reduced damage taken for a time. You're going to deal lots of posture damage because of the counter attack. You're going to be healing, and also you're going to be increasing your attack. So that is just an amazingly tremendous, glorious and powerful way to use the weapon, and it just gives you like a huge power spike for a couple of seconds. The second one that I like to use, if you're not very familiar with the countering or deflect, or you haven't managed to get the timings, although one little parenthesis in here is that the deflect actually takes the window, it's huge. The window for deflect is really huge. But essentially, if you do not want to do that, what you're going to want to do is light attack, and then the weapon skill, which is going to be with the left bumper on your controller. Now, one thing to have in mind is that it's going to be light attack, and then you do this, and then dodge, rinse, and repeat. You do not want to continue the combo after the weapon skill. The reason for that being is that is going to require one more Skyborn Might that you're not going to natively get. If you have it, then that's good, that's okay, that's nice. But if you don't have it, then you want to rinse and repeat. The dodge is going to reset the combo so that you can get more Skyborn Might, so that your damage, your defense, your lifesteal is 100% active. If you're not getting Skyborn Might, those effects are not going to be active. So that's something that you need to have in mind. Anyways, that is the build for this longsword. If you like the content, so like and never super appreciated. And also, you're the gorgeous and beautiful person. You're indeed a gorgeous and beautiful person. Subscribe to the channel. You're in Discord. Have a beautiful day. Goodbye.